Typically, a father's son might take his shoes for a party, his car for a date, and a jacket for graduation. But for a son to have something taken by his father, it wouldn't be just any possession, it would be his wife. Since childhood, I was often told I'd be a sought-after groom. I've always been a calm, obedient child, never the rebellious teen. Even with the passport stamp, nothing really changed. I worked, held part-time jobs, and brought all the money home. We didn't live luxuriously, but we had enough for the essentials. I wasn't interested in alcohol, and those kinds of gatherings never appealed to me. Having grown up without a father, I've always believed that family is sacred. If you choose a woman, you must love, protect, and respect her. Watching my mother juggle work and raising me, I wanted to create the most peaceful and comfortable life for Harper. But when I was just over a year old, my father decided his wife was too domestic. She didn't do her hair, didn't exercise, and never wore heels. No one seemed to notice that she had a child, a home, and a garden to tend to. Given this childhood, I developed a more mature view of relationships and children. We've discussed this before, but still hadn't made a final decision. We only lived together for another 3 years. We wanted to travel, experience life. My father lived his own way, often dating girls barely older than legal age. And then, one day, he went too far. Personally, I have never felt the absence of my father. If anything, I could take anyone in his place. But my mother was too busy to play that role, and the man whose name I bear just didn't have time for me. He didn't even bother to come to my wedding, although I put aside all my resentments and invited him. One day my wife and I went for a walk and ran into him, my father. He pretended to be glad to see me. Liam, he introduced himself to my wife. It's very nice to finally meet you. I apologized for missing the wedding. I was just on vacation with a charming lady. Her husband was at home that week because he went on a business trip, my father said. Okay, that's enough. I couldn't stand his speech anymore. My father stopped looking at me condescendingly and finally behaved like a normal person. He asked a few questions about our lives, our plans, our problems. Eventually, he gave me his phone number. My business is booming. I have the right connections. If you need anything, don't hesitate to contact me, he said, handing me his business card. I kept the card, mostly out of politeness. To be honest, I never thought I would use it and planned to throw it away. But when my wife saw it in the ashtray, she was stunned. "Why are you throwing it away?" she asked. "You don't deserve his attention." "I heard he traded our wedding for a date with a married woman," she retorted. "Anyway, he has the same blood in him. Have you seen his costume? It's worth more than everything you have put together. We can't even save up for a car like this. So if something goes wrong with us, we could call him. You know he'd jump at the chance to catch up," she said. I sighed. Honestly, I'd rather we never have to rely on him. But I still pulled the card out of the ashtray, wiped it off, and stuffed it into a drawer. "And how old is he?" "He looks amazing for his age." "I can't believe he has a grown son like you." "He must hit the gym, huh?" she asked. "No, he's just been cruising through life. When things get tough, he doesn't fight, he dumps his friends, leaves his partners high and dry, and dodges responsibility. He's not built for a regular life." "He's all about relaxing, not stressing," I replied. We talked it over and moved on, but I could tell something was bothering her. It was like an idea had lodged itself in her head. She started thinking we could live the high life too, just like my dad. Sometimes she'd complain about why I hadn't turned out like him, and I had no idea how to explain what success really is. It's not about taking shortcuts or using people. But, well, that didn't quite get through to her. We even had a few arguments over it. Harper dreamed of a lavish lifestyle and started demanding that I give her not 100%, but 200% of my effort. So, in the end, she came up with the idea of starting a side gig, a shoe store. Her cousin had a small 3-room retail space, and Harper rented one of the rooms, filling it with a collection of mid-range shoes. I needed to start my own business, and then my wife decided to ask my father for help. He intervened to resolve some tax issues. This meant that they had to meet several times, first to bring him up to date, then to hand over the documents, and finally to make ends meet. At least that's what I thought. In fact, he was doing something completely different. As you might guess, my father never really kept things to himself. So, at our next meeting, he casually asked from the doorway, "So, have you guys divorced Harper yet?" I was caught off guard and answered, "No." "I thought you were breaking up," he replied. My heart skipped a beat. "What are you talking about?" I asked. He just shrugged. "Well, you're acting like a child. I've been with her a few times. I don't even remember how long. She came to talk about the store, and we just sat and drank coffee. She said that I was cool, that my apartment was cool, that my life was cool. She said that our relationship was almost over, that there would be a divorce soon. And why not take advantage of it? After all, you have such a cool one too," he said. I was blindsided. I didn't expect that from him, but honestly, I couldn't say I was entirely shocked. He's a sociopath, completely lacking tact or any respect for other people's feelings. When Harper came home, I told her I knew everything. She was shocked, but she still fought to the end and said, "You're not doing anything for me. Are you planning to make real money, or are we going to live on a paycheck forever? You're stuck. You're not growing. How am I supposed to have kids if we can't even give them the best?" "What kids? You slept with another man, and not just any man, but my father." I snapped. "What kind of father is he to you?" She shot back. "You don't even resemble him. He's successful, charming, and social. It's easy and fun with him. You should have heard what he said to me. You've never said anything like that to me in all our time together. The compliments, the flirting. He said he liked me a lot, and that we could never have a future like I could with you." "Why did you say we were getting divorced?" I asked, stunned. "I was furious with you," Harper said. "You're a beggar, a nobody, not like Liam." "So now he's just Liam," I replied. "He's not just Liam," she said. "He's the Liam who's touched parts of me you never did. He reached deeper into my soul than you ever could." "And why did you come back to me after being with someone so divine?" I asked, struggling to keep calm. "Well, I was thinking, why should I? He told me to stay, that he'd give me so much more than this unsuccessful copy of him," she said. At that moment, I lost it and slapped her. Even now, I can't forget that moment, and I still feel like I'd hit him again if I could. Harper stormed out, cursing, and rushed to get dressed. In the hallway, she yelled she'd come back for her things in a few days. Maybe Liam would buy her all new stuff, she said, throwing in one last jab before she left. I was left there, alone in the apartment, reflecting on what had just happened. The woman who promised to love and support me had jumped into bed with my father just because he had a fancier car. Maybe in 20 years, I'll be walking around in nice suits, running my own business. But Harper didn't give me the time to get there, and of course, I won't be giving her a second chance. An hour later, my father called, "Listen, get your woman. What the hell is she doing here? She said you had a fight. Why the hell do I care about your personal life? What did she want me to do, comfort her? Well, sorry, I've got someone else comforting me right now, someone pretty well known around here. God forbid your little bird finds out and spreads it. She says she wants to share all my troubles with me. Is she sick? Or did you mess with her head? Does she know what a fleeting relationship is, and what people say in these situations? I hung up the phone, ignoring him after that. I wasn't sure if I was relieved that my unfaithful wife ended up exactly where she wanted, chasing a rich and happy life with someone else. But I warned her. She was chasing an illusion, and now she can live with the consequences. As for me, I don't want anything to do with her anymore. From that conversation, it sounded like my father was deep into business too.